There's a threat lurking in your home that's way more common and honestly more destructive than most people even realize. It doesn't show up with a loud bang or a big crash. Nope. It's a silent invader, one that can just quietly dismantle your home from the inside out. So let's break down this hidden danger.
Okay, I want you to really think about this for a second. Of all the things that could possibly damage your house, what's the very first one that pops into your head?
For most of us, right, the answer is fire. And yeah, for good reason. It's fast, it's terrifying, you can see it. But there is another force out there, one that actually causes damage way more often, and in a lot of ways in a much sneakier, more insidious way.
And there it is, water. It doesn't matter if it's from a burst pipe, a storm surge, or a tiny leak you can't even see. The moment it gets in, it launches this silent but totally relentless attack on your home's structure, its value, and even your safety.
So here's what we're going to cover in this explainer. We'll look at why water is such a huge threat, what actually happens once it's inside, the science that the pros use to stop it, the key terms you really need to know, and finally, the seriously high price of just waiting around.
All right, first up, the silent destroyer. Let's dig into why a little water isn't just about things getting wet. It's about a full-blown invasion that starts the second that first drop shows up. And look, this threat can come from literally anywhere. It could be something sudden and catastrophic, like a pipe bursting in the wall, or it could be something slow and hidden, like a tiny leak under your home's foundation. It can start inside with your plumbing or come screaming in from the outside during a storm. This quote right here really nails a critical point. Where you live and how your home was built play a huge role. If you're in a place with high humidity, or you've got aging pipes, or a slab foundation, well, your risk is just magnified. The environment itself can be working against you.
But here's the thing. It doesn't matter where the water comes from. The single most important factor is always the same: time. This is an absolute race against the clock. And believe me, those first 48 hours are everything.
And climate? Oh man, that's a huge accelerator. In a really dry place, you might have a little more wiggle room. But in a humid area, say like Louisiana, where it's over 70% humidity most of the year, the conditions for mold are absolutely perfect. And that damage timeline just speeds up like crazy.
Just look at how fast this all spirals. Within minutes, not hours, minutes, water is already soaking into your floors, your furniture, everything. Within a few hours, drywall starts to swell up, floors start to buckle. But that 24 to 48 hour mark, that is the red line. After that point, trying to prevent mold becomes next to impossible. And you can see the difference right here. High humidity is basically like rocket fuel for mold growth. A process that might take a week in a dry climate can happen in just over a single day in a humid one. And that's why a fast professional response is completely non-negotiable. So, if you're in this crazy race against time, what does the winning game plan even look like? Well, I can tell you it's not just grabbing a few mops and some fans from the garage. Professional water restoration is a scientific, step-by-step process. The entire professional response really boils down to these three critical phases. First, you got to stop the bleeding. That means a rapid dispatch and assessment. Second, you have to get all the water out, the stuff you can see and the stuff you can't, and then scientifically dry the structure. And third, you clean, you sanitize, and you rebuild. And the reason pros win this race is because they have the right gear. We're talking thermal cameras that can literally see moisture hidden inside walls, moisture meters that measure the water content deep inside building materials, and of course, industrial strength extractors and dehumidifiers that do a job your household tools just can't even touch. Now, when you're dealing with a water emergency, you're going to hear a lot of industry jargon thrown around. But if you can understand just a few key terms, it'll empower you to make much better decisions. Okay, these two are huge: water mitigation and water restoration. Think of mitigation like the emergency room. Its only job is to stop the damage from getting any worse right now. Restoration, on the other hand, that's the full recovery. It's the complete rebuild process to get everything back to the way it was before the loss. You might also hear the pros talk about the IICRC S500 standard. So what is that? Well, IICRC is the institute that certifies professionals, and their S500 standard is basically the official industry playbook. Following it is absolutely crucial because it's the process that insurance companies know, recognize, and trust. Now listen up, because this is super important.
Not all water is the same. The source tells you how dangerous it is. Category 1 is clean water, say from a supply line. Category 2, that's gray water, it's got some contaminants. But Category 3, black water from sewage or flooding, that is a serious health hazard and requires completely different safety gear and cleanup protocols.
And finally, structural drying. This sounds really technical, but the idea is simple. It's not just about drying the surface you can see. It's a scientific process to pull trapped moisture out from deep inside your walls, your subfloors. Skipping this step is exactly why mold and rot can suddenly appear months down the road. Okay, so what happens if you wait, or if you try to tackle a major leak yourself? Well, the consequences go way beyond just cosmetic stuff. They become structural, and they become deeply, deeply financial. Take a look at this number. That's the potential drop in your property's market value from unaddressed water damage. That is a massive financial hit, and it comes from either ignoring the problem or trying to clean it up the wrong way. And I get it, the temptation to try and DIY a big water issue is real, but it's a huge gamble. You're almost guaranteed to miss hidden pockets of moisture, you could expose yourself to dangerous contaminants, and you basically ensure that mold is going to show up later. But worst of all, you could actually put your insurance claim in jeopardy. And this right here, this is the financial knockout punch. If mold grows because you didn't act fast enough or you failed to get the damage handled properly, your insurance company can, and often will, deny the claim for all of that secondary damage. It's a decision that could literally cost you thousands and thousands of dollars out of your own pocket.
So we've seen it, right? Water is this relentless force. Time is absolutely your enemy, and the professional response is a science. The only question left is, now that you know the risks, are you ready to act when, not if, this silent threat makes an appearance?